It all started in 2003. I had previously sold my Trek Sport 800 bike, which was good as a new, but needed the money to build a new computer. The actual picture is not my bike. I found it on the internet. In the old days, they still had those single core processor computers. It was nice summer and the bike was much needed for swimming, visiting friends, just to chill out. So I bought a second-hand bike, but it was in very bad condition. It had 3 owners before me. A lot of effort had gone into breaking it. Jumping on it, well, most young people do that. The faults were like bent rear wheel, worn tires, brakes not working. It was a steel frame bicycle from the car company Peugeot. If at the times the value was converted to today figures, then I paid around 50 euros for the bike. I wasn't living very well at the time and didn't have any spare cash for new parts. So a bit of fiddling around, fixed the brakes and off I went. The rear wheel was quite crooked. I tried to straighten it without any skills. It got worse. And the kind of Terran tire with big pattern on the rim started to go push against the frame. What did I do? I took the knife and cut away the rubber pattern on the sides so that it would no longer interfere. Driving vertically, the rear wheel was wobbling and there were comments from behind me. Look at the rear wheel on that guy's bike. It was madness to drive like that for a year. 2005, it was a bit better off financially. I was able to have the bike completely overhauled in a workshop, where almost all the moving parts were replaced, such as entire rear wheel, center sprocket, chain, and a few other parts. I didn't have any skills and tools to do it myself at the time. Years went by and it was my only bike. All these years with a bit of fiddling like a new chains, new tire chains, and I started doing longer rides of 100 kilometers plus. In 2050, life started to look up financially. So I got my hands on long-awaited dream project to give my old friend a brand new look, and I did in my bedroom. I used a special chemical to remove the paint, which I smeared on with a brush and waited 10 minutes for the paint to start to bubble. I tried to do it outdoors at the first, as it was early spring and the temperatures were chilly, so chemical didn't start to have the desired cooling effect. Therefore I did in my bedroom. I had never even held a spray can of paint. I primed the frame 2 to 3 times, painted 2 to 3 times, and the same number of times I furnished. I wouldn't recommend anyone to paint indoors. The smell is extremely unpleasant. I did use a mask, but the wrong mask. So it's very dangerous for the health, and the tiny flakes from the paint could be found in the living room afterward. Here it is, the first successful and bigger project I've done in my life. I was very happy about it. I used retro-style tires with white sidewall. I used a butterfly handlebar just for the comfort of it. Both rim tops I painted red. I attached the monkey light to the front spokes, which is a Kickstarter project. This slide has over 20 patterns to choose from. You can also choose which color or have the color change automatically from time to time. I still use it to this day. On top of the wall I attached a wine bottle cap. I tried to be artistic and creative. Around the seat tube I had my mother wave a tapestry of our country flag colors. But that was just the beginning. As survival shows gained popularity, usually people would hike because the parents were into it. But in my case, it was this man, Les Stroud. He is a Canadian guy who was the very first to do a Survival Man series, and after the buzz spread like a wildfire, other creators like Bear Grylls, Dual Survival, and so on came along. He was the one who infected me with the hiking itch. As a young man, I never dreamed about of spending a night in the woods. It was probably not in the genes. I started buying my hiking gear, waterproof ortolier bags for the bike, hammock, sleeping bag. In short, everything that would allow me spend a night in the woods. The whole of 2015 was spending practically getting to know my camping gear and spending one night in the forest. The first night I practically didn't sleep. And indeed, a person who spent the first night in the wild doesn't sleep. The other nights were also quite semi-sleepless until after fortnight I was sleeping quite soundly. However, this hammock took some time to getting used to. 2060, on one trip the cruiser tire bent. It was acting very weird. So I stopped by here, put my bags over there, and I discovered that this rim is perfectly lined. But this tire, I thought this rim is messed up, but seems that tire is somehow bent on one side. So let me do this. Look, that looks terrible. And I had to cancel the trip and return home. I don't know how it was possible. Too much pressure maybe in a tire perhaps. Those cheap substandard tires had to go. They also had very weak puncture protection. After a bit of research on the internet, I decided on special touring tires, the Marathon Mondial, and I still use those tires to this day. The puncture comes rarely and they don't wear out quickly. The only tire I trust at the moment. That year I also did my first 6-day tour of 500 to 600 kilometers.
You don't look like you've missed any meals yet. Look like you're well loaded. Look like you're ready for 4 months. Number one, I'm curious, and number two, we do. Actually, we've taken these bikes all over Bavaria and Germany.
It was by far the most memorable trip, meeting many people along the way, some from abroad.
Because you have enough space and
the weather was fantastic. I will make a video of it in the future as there's plenty of material. In 2017, some upgrades to the bike, such as the Brooks 70 saddle. It said that Brooks saddle can take hundreds of kilometers to get comfortable. It took me thousands of kilometers to get comfortable. I lubricated with grease that you can buy with the saddle to speed up the process. But it seems it didn't work and even decided to sell it. But At one point, the discomfort disappeared, either the rear end really took the shape of the saddle eventually, or I just got used to it. I still use that saddle today, 40,000 kilometers ridden with it. As it has become a tradition, I did 1,000 kilometers week tour this year. This windy weather we have is quite common. In this video, that got me thinking about an electric motor.
It's heavy headwind, and on Pavel Road I can ride about only maybe 10 kilometers per hour, which is I don't remember last time when I was driving that slow. That's crazy, man.
On the straight road, putting all my strength to point that my muscles cramped to reach 20 to 50 kilometers per hour was no longer a pleasure, but agony. In 2018, I ordered my first direct drive wood motor. Thanks to this motor, I set my daily distance record later that year, which was 320 kilometers. 190 kilometers daily distance record I had without the help of the motor previously with the equipment. That's where my passion for electric bikes started, and I started using it daily to go to work, and it became practically a replacement for the car. Then this happened. 2019. There was a small crack in the seat post on the frame. It got bigger and bigger until finally a piece broke off and the seat post tube could no longer be attached. I had no choice but to write off the bike. To sum it up, I had this original 50 euros bike, originally in very poor condition, gradually modified, spent nearly 60 years together in good and bad. Tens of thousands of kilometers. As with everything, there comes an end. It is currently dismantled and stands as a memento. I'm thinking on even having it welded, repaired in the future. I now have 3 new bike family members: an enduro e-bike, Recoband, and a daily commuting bike, each with their own characteristics and look. Thank you for being with me on this great journey of nostalgia. This is definitely not going to be the last nostalgia trip. In the future, I will be sharing videos from 2060 onwards, when I started hiking with my traditional bike, and looking back on footage that never reached the editing table. The video material is plentiful. I had a definite plan to even open a YouTube channel about my trips, but it didn't work out. Years went by and I opened my e-bike channel instead. I think these videos are right at home on this channel too, because these trips and touring are a big part of why I'm so invested in cycling and why I build bikes. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.